thank you guys for coming. Ibrahim Kante, class of 17, he was on the Erickson League championship team. We went on to play in the New England Championship that year. Kenny McDougal, class of 17, he was the exact same class and played on that same team. There's an interesting story with that. They played the same position, at least on offense. But we ended up winning the Erickson League that year, started the season 7-0. Two unbelievable guys. Some of you guys know Kenny for some reason. He's a familiar face around town, around the campus. Ibrahim Kante is at NC State. He attends NC State. Kenny McDougal is at Sacred Heart University. Chiz Umunakwe, who some of you guys are familiar with as well. Some of you guys might know his little brother, Justin, who is vaguely he's absent for all those posts, Chiz. We got one post of Justin doing tricep pull downs, and you're like pushing tires and flipping cars and stuff. I want a little bit more posts from Justin, but you guys know Justin. You probably met Chiz. He's around a lot. Chiz is class of 18, so he came the next year as a postgraduate, and now is at Towson University. Obviously, Kenny is a faculty brat and has grown up here. Ibrahim was also a postgraduate from Cardinal Hayes High School. Chiz went to JFK High School down in the Bronx. So, guys, welcome. Thanks for coming.
Appreciate you having us.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you. Let's go. I'm just going to go top to bottom here, and Kenny's on my top. So just give us what's going on in your world. How are you doing with all this crazy stuff? Families are safe. I know Kenny's. I see Kenny's family all the time. I know they're safe. They're gardening, trying to save the plants from the snow with the plastic. But just why don't we go down Kenny, Ibrahim, and then Chiz. Just give us an update on how you guys are doing and families are safe and all that.
Yeah, so I'm still here on campus. Came back mid-March once I found out they're going to close our weight room and spring ball was canceled. Sorry. And then I've been here. I just finished up my semester. I started a summer class. And then, the family's safe. And I'm pretty much just waiting until I get the word that our athletic center is back open. And then I'm going to be back up there to finish up summer school on campus and then hopefully work out with my teammates again.
Ibrahim?
I'm pretty much in the same boat as Kenny. I came home and they told me that I can't go back to school. So pretty much just over here, just working out, finishing my classes and make sure I'm staying in shape because we don't know when we're going back. So, we could get the call tomorrow that we're going back in like 3 weeks. So just got to stay ready.
Yeah. Cheers.
Yeah, I'm pretty much in the same boat where I'm just waiting to hear back for my summer classes because right now I'm in New York City, so I don't really know if the campus is going to be open. But whenever that gets opened up, probably going to sign up for summer classes and then start taking classes in the summer. And in the meantime, whenever somebody hits me up to work out, like how today was Dante and Marquise and Jaden, so I just try to get a workout in whenever I can.
So many classes.
Lincoln definitely wanted to be on this for you guys. So, but again, thanks for coming. So how are you guys staying active? I see Kenny running around with, one of those weight vests on, like 15 pounds. That's what I feel like. I'm carrying a weight vest as well.
Most days it's 24 pounds.
Videos.
So
that
24 pounds and then at least 2 to 3 miles. So.
How are you guys doing the weight room, the strength part of it? Like, what are you guys doing?
I just been doing like a bunch of body weight stuff with my coach. He has like a Zoom meeting and we just go crazy for like 2 hours, just doing maximum push-ups, squats, single leg stuff. So just stay in shape like that.
What about you, Chiz?
Me, Towson, they give us like this. We have this app. It's called Team Builder. So every day it gives us like a whole different workout, how many sets. And then like if you don't understand what it is, like there's a video. It tells you what the workout is. And that's basically what we get done. We get like a whole different, I think it's Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. We get different workouts. And then we just got to like complete it. And once you complete it, like it checks off the boxes. So that's how we stay interested.
Cool, man. All right, let's hop into it. Like, I'm glad that everybody's good and your families are safe. And obviously, we're thinking of them, especially down in the city, you guys. But yeah, so give us a little bit. Let's start with Chiz. We'll start with you, and then we'll go to Ibrahim. But what was it like going from the city up to Pawling, New York, to attend Trinity-Pawling School?
I mean, you guys noticed when I first came, it wasn't even like school wasn't even in session. I came in with a full suit. You feel me? So that's just like what I was expecting when I got there, because they was like, oh, the uniform was, you got to wear a suit and a tie. So I did not know what I was getting into, coming from like a public school where we didn't really have much uniform versus to private school, and where we had to literally, I didn't even know how to tie a tie coming in. I had to like have my dad help me tie it. And then from there, Nate, my roommate, he was also PG. He helped me. He taught me how to tie a tie. So it was definitely a whole new world that I was opened up to. And I was definitely appreciative of it, because it was just like a different culture, you know what I'm saying? Because like in public schools, it would be like 30 students in one classroom, one teacher trying to get the attention of 30 students. And that doesn't really work out the best, because a lot of these kids don't really care about their education as much as they should. But then coming into a private school where, you know what I'm saying, you're literally paying for your education, so you got to maximize the opportunity. My biggest classroom was like 10 to 12 kids, and then my smallest was like 4 kids with theater, Mr. Burnham. So it was just a nice little family environment that I got that I just felt really welcomed into, and that definitely helped me in my year as a post grad.
Ibrahim, what was it like for you? I mean, coming from the city, you were at a private, you were at Cardinal Hayes before, so it was a little different with that. But what was it like for you?
It was like a whole new world to me, even though like it was a lot similar like classroom wise, but like as far as like the community, everybody was so close. Like when I got there, like at first I really wasn't talking much. If you don't remember, like the first week I was like the quietest dude on campus. Then like everybody on campus started to kind of like come around me, and like I just started speaking more. So like I feel like it was the best thing for me, because like it was my first time being around like a real, even though like Cardinal Hayes, we had like a family, like it was like I didn't lose none of that when I got to TP. Like everybody just took me in immediately.
Yeah, I agree.
Kenny, what about I asked Chris Karate this the other day, but and Lincoln's right here. But you have a different scenario. I mean, you grew up on campus in there. What was it like growing up at TP, and maybe more specifically, like what sticks out to you from guys like, and I know Shane Scove's a fan favorite from Coach Karate and your dad, Mr. McDougal. But like guys like being around Shane Scove, being around guys. I mean, I'm throwing Shane out there, but I know there's a bunch more guys. But what was it like growing up at TP?
It's definitely a unique experience. Like when I talk to other kids in my school and I explain my childhood, and like this is the first time ever living in a real house, being at college, not even on campus. But guys like Shane Scove, Drew Hennessy, it was just, I was always around this environment of competition. Like these guys would take softball to the craziest extent, or like backyard basketball to the craziest extent. It was just like I got surrounded in this competition. And there's also guys that cared about me. And it was just, it's the coolest thing that I had guys that someone went on to be a professional athlete. Other guys went on to West Point, and they're super successful athletes, but just like the culture, the guys in the family that I was around, it was really cool.
Ibrahim, you had an interesting when we were recruiting you, you committed to Trinity-Pawling. It's all good. I said this to most guys on this call right now, and I'll say it to and I'll continue to say it, but I just said when we say yes and you say yes, it's done.
Yeah.
And then later that spring, you got an offer from Old Dominion. You were a kind of kid that Coach described as, I think you grew like 9 inches in high school. How tall? Like how tall and how much do you weigh right now, Ibrahim?
Right now I'm probably like 6'4.5". Right now when I step on the scale, probably around 265.
And long. And you guys know, like when we do overhead squats, Ibrahim's butt is on the ground and his heels don't come up at all. When I saw you do that, Ibrahim, I knew you were going to be a high level guy. But I just want you to speak to like Old Dominion comes in late, and Coach Kamish is a friend of the program. He's a great guy. You know, he's like, hey, we want him now. And, you know, that process for you, like you stuck with Trinity-Pawling, and I just want to know, like, you know, your thoughts at the time, and, you know, were you happy with that decision? You know, obviously you ended up catapulting yourself to a great place, but kind of talk to us about that.
So for me, I'm in the meeting. But for me, see, my mom's right behind me, but
She's bringing you food. She's like, she wants you to eat.
Nah, but all right, can I give me 1 second? Just 1 second.
The guy wants to eat. You can't blame him there.
All right, go. My bad.
It's okay.
But I mean, can you ask the question again? She just made me lose the whole question.
Hey, I'm just asking about, like, you're coming to Trinity-Pawling and it's done, and then, you know, maybe a month or so later, Old Dominion comes in and said, hey, we want him right now. And you said, I'm going to wait. I'm going to bet on myself, and I'm going to go to Trinity-Pawling, do a postgraduate year, and hopefully it all works out in the end. Which, again, like a lot of guys, like, it's not like you got all the money to throw around in the world. Like, you were gambling on yourself pretty good, and I just wanted to take you through that process.
So pretty much, when I said I was going to Trinity-Pawling, like, I was 100% set on it. And, like, even when the scholarship came, like, I was more surprised by it. But even when I tried to consider it, my mom didn't let me, because she told me that your word is your word. And honestly, I believe, like, in like, the energy you put out is the energy you get back. So if I was to go back on my word, at some point it would come back to bite me. I don't know when or how, but I knew at some point if I did that, it wouldn't have been good for me. And when I went to Trinity-Pawling, I just knew that was where I needed to be. Something in my heart just told me to go. And when I got there, as you know, like even though things didn't, like, at first, like, I got hurt and stuff like that, like, I just kind of had to stay in there, and you guys kept me in there, and things ended up working out the way I wanted it.
Yeah, it all worked out. I mean, Ibrahim, you were getting recruited by, like, the Buffaloes and Temples and of the world, and then you know, NC State came in, and I do believe strongly that they took you. I mean, you're a huge upside, but I do believe strongly that they took you because of the person you are and the work ethic and all that. I say to kids all the time, like, you know, you define the truth. I'll tell the truth, but you get to define it. So I think in your case, that absolutely, if a guy was going to take a chance, and they were going to take you, and I was so happy when that worked out for you, and proud of you, and couldn't happen to a better guy.
Appreciate you, Coach.
Chiz, we got it was late with you, right? Like, it was Coach Carey. It was late. Like, we were looking for a guy. You play for a great coach in high school who's now up at Danbury. You know, take us through that. Like, you know, what would you have done if that didn't happen? You know, take us through that process.
Oh man, well, first of all, the first offer I had gotten was to Division III college. It was St. Lawrence University. So I remember that was like after my senior year season was over in 2017. I had gotten that offer, and coming out of high school, especially since I started playing football my sophomore year, so I didn't really expect much. I knew I was a late bloomer. I knew colleges were going to take their time before they found out about me, but I was just so set on not having my parents have to worry about my college education, because my sister, she ran Division I track on full scholarship at the University of Maryland Eastern Shore. So once my sister did it, I knew it could be possible. So she kind of inspired me to also try and earn a scholarship of my own, so my parents won't have to worry about paying for my college education. So when I got the offer from St. Lawrence, I was pretty set on it, because it was mostly an academic scholarship, because Division III don't really give athletic scholarship. So they were gonna give me like this HEOP grant. I went interviewed with the guy who was operating it. I even went on a visit. They paid for my bus ticket and everything. They got me down there. I stayed there overnight. I had a great time. So I really thought, like, all right, this is the school I'm gonna go to, since they're willing to pay for my college education so my parents don't have to worry. So it wasn't until late February or mid-February, around that time, when I had gotten the email, because I had applied, you know what I'm saying, because it was a New York school, so I had to like do the whole New York selection process and whatever. And then I get an email in the mail. It says St. Lawrence. I'm thinking they congratulate me for getting accepted. And it goes, oh, you weren't admitted. And I was just like, literally my whole world fell apart. So I was like, I literally put all my eggs in one basket at this point. It's already late in the process. And I thought like, all right, this is where I was really going to go. So at that point, my coach T was like, I know you're better than this. We both knew you were better than this. We knew you were settling. So this is just a sign from God saying, you know what I'm saying, you're better than this. Like, you don't really belong here. So at that point, we just started getting in touch with all the other schools that we had been in touch with from the beginning. I remember visiting Pace and then this other Division II school at East Stroudsburg. East Stroudsburg went to Pace, East Stroudsburg. They were offering some money, but it wasn't anything full. So I was like, you know what I'm saying? At this point, I already bet my chances on a Division III school, and I didn't make it. So if it wasn't a full scholarship, like guaranteed, then I wasn't gonna pick it. I was like, I was rather gonna take my chances at a JUCO college before I, you know what I'm saying, put myself at a lower level, because I knew I was a Division I talent. I knew I could play at the Division I level. So it wasn't until late that I forgot how we got into touch with Towson, but it was Towson and UConn. So one of the coaches, like an old coach that used to coach at Kennedy, Coach Mo, he had some connections with Towson, so he had sent them over my film. He had put in a word for me, and then Coach Trick actually came and visited, and that's when he had suggested me doing a prep year. So he had a whole list of schools. He had Avon Old Farms, he had Trinity-Pawling, he had Salisbury. He just had a bunch of schools listed down. He was like, get in touch with these schools. This might be the best route for you, this and that. And I thanked him for it. He said he'll keep in touch. And then like a month later, that following week or something, the UConn coach came by, Coach John Woley, and that was Coach Carey's best friend. And that's when he really emphasized on Trinity-Pawling, saying, okay, one of my best friends works at Trinity-Pawling. I can get you guys in touch. That's when we set up the meeting. I got down there with Coach T. We did the interview with you. You took me on a tour, and it was just like a whole different experience. Just even as soon as I walked through the first door at Cluett, I seen the picture. It was like couches set up. I seen a picture of this, you know what I'm saying, this white dude in the suit and tie. I'm like, yo, I'm in a different world right now. You know what I'm saying? So that just got me like in a different state of mind. And then I was just glad that everything worked out the way it was, because if it wasn't for TP, I would have had to take the JUCO route and use a year of college. So Trinity-Pawling definitely blessed me with the post-grad year, and I definitely capitalized on everything it had to offer. And it wasn't until after the season at Trinity-Pawling that I got the full scholarship to Towson University, where I'm at right now. So it was definitely a blessing to get that extra year and not have to go JUCO.
Well, it worked out for us too, Chiz.
Yeah, appreciate it.
Wasn't a bad get. Here's the story. So we got a good team coming. Our quarterback was coming back, a kid named Brandon Harris, who's the MVP in the league, who's playing quarterback down at Monmouth. We got a lot of pieces in place. We take a PG from Cardinal Hayes. We know he's a game-changing kind of defensive end, and I tell him he's got to play tackle as well, offensive tackle. So some of you guys have heard this line. And Ibrahim's like, yeah, whatever, I'll do whatever. So we scrimmage. We used to scrimmage Hotchkiss to start, and we weren't even in the scrimmage yet. I think we were just doing pass rush or something. And somebody comes over to me and says, it might have been Mr. Kellogg, Mr. Stucci, and said, hey, we think Ibrahim broke his hand. So again, like going back to that recruiting process, right? Like he turns down Old Dominion, who's offering a full scholarship. He's going to take a year. He's taking a leap of faith here, and he comes to his postgraduate year. And then Ibrahim, you break your hand in the first scrimmage. Like, what are you thinking?
Literally, it was like I couldn't believe it. Like it was like a nightmare, because like I felt like everything that I was trying to get was like literally cut off right there. Because like the way the doctor was talking, he was telling me that I was probably gonna be out for like maybe 80% of the season, and like each game went by, and I was just like, yo, please, man, like please let me play on the field, please. And he was just telling me like, the more I try to play, like the more it would be a risk. So like just let it heal and just like come back each week, and we just check you each week. And even the week that I played, like he even told me like I had a risk then, but I was just like, man, like I gotta be out there with these guys, and it wasn't even about the offers anymore. It was just about being out there with the guys, because I had gained a relationship with everybody, and like I was just like I felt like that was my family, so I had to get on the field with them before I even leave.
And then there's a guy behind you who, again, like earned our respect all along. That was never an issue. But Kenny McDougal was basically our backup lineman, I'd say. So anybody gets hurt, Kenny's probably going in, and we'll figure it out. Kenny was probably the hardest worker maybe I've ever been around, with no guarantee of playing time. We've had a lot of discussions with Kenny, trying to be as upfront as we can with him. And Kenny got it. Like I still believe that he just understood. Like he understood, and he was going to work no matter what. And again, he was going to try. And then Ibrahim goes down. So again, like depth is always an issue at any prep school. And Kenny gets inserted there, and we go 4-0. And Ibrahim came back the fifth game. They still split time, I think. But, you know, to me, Kenny, talk to me about, like, the thing that impressed me the most, I guess, is just the fact that you were ready to go. Like, you know, there was no drop-off. Like, you were preparing for that moment, to me, for probably your whole life, but definitely the years that I knew you for coach, you know, playing and lifting weights and stuff. But kind of what went through your head, you know, what were your thoughts in that moment where you're kind of like, we give you the nod, like, hey, hop in there?
Well, I think it was starting sophomore years when I finally got playing time. I was a long snapper, and I knew that was something I could do going into TP. So I'd done that sophomore year, did that junior year with some special teams. And I think I was just kind of hoping senior year I'd get a shot. And then in the back of my mind, I was like, I also was friends, some of you guys, Mrs. Palmer's son was a college punter. And he was kind of talking to me like, oh, you can go snap in college. Like, you may have what it has to take. Then I went to a couple scouting camps going into that senior year, and there are a couple coaches like, yeah, you can snap with us. But in the back of my mind, I'm like, even if I want to go snap with them, I still need, like, I don't want to just be a long snapper my senior year on my high school football team. And it was just kind of be as prepared as I possibly could be to make it really hard for you and Coach Richards when it came time for game plans and figuring out who was going to play. And then I've always tried to be a student of football and a student of the game. And it was just figuring out as much as I possibly could. So it was breaking down film as often as I could. I work with Coach Rui sometimes breaking down JV film just so I could see more stuff. And I kind of got the shot, and I made sure I knew I was 6'1", 185 pounds playing tackle. Like, I knew I was not going to be able to go one-on-one against anyone, blocking anyone head up. But I figured if I can get the right steps and be able to chop block someone and get underneath someone, I'd give us a chance. So.
Hey, and cut them you did. And cut them you did. Which made a lot of sense, man. I was proud of you, man. I just to see a guy work that hard, and then it actually had to pay off, and then we had the season that we had, to me was a tribute to all the team, all the guys. But again, we don't have that season if you weren't ready. We don't have a tackle, so that's a tribute to you. Chiz, I'm going to kick it back down to you. Think back to your experience at Trinity-Pawling. We had another good year. It was back-to-back bowl games where we go on and beat Deerfield in that bowl game we hosted. But talk to me about the most challenging moment at Trinity-Pawling, maybe on the football field. I know you wrestled. You went out for wrestling, and you never wrestled in your life. We'll talk about track in a second. Mr. McDougal could chime in here. But talk to me about the most challenging moment maybe on the athletic field.
I would say the most challenging moment on the athletic field was definitely the game when I think it was like we was on that winning streak, and it was a home game. I think it was against that team we scrimmaged at the beginning of the season. Do you remember?
Go ahead.
I think it was I'm trying to remember, but it was the game where I hurt my ankle.
Yeah.
So
Was it Salisbury?
No, it wasn't Salisbury. It was like it was the first team we ever scrimmaged. Like our first ever.
Or Kent?
No, Kent. Yeah. There we go. Kent. It was Kent. Okay. So we had played Kent the home game, and as soon as the game starts, you know what I'm saying, like we were on this nice little stretch. We were about to head into the bowl game, and it was this is Jude and Justin playing around. It was like honestly the most fun I've had playing football in the wild, just being a part of that team. You know what I'm saying, being a part of the Pride. You know what I'm saying, winning Hammer of the Week every week. So it was an exciting time. And then we get out there. I think we go up 7-0. Ray Davis scores, and then we kick the ball to them, and I'm running. I'm looking at the ball. It literally bounces right in the middle. Nobody goes after it. That's when I recover it. I see everybody on silent. We're going crazy. We get the ball back. We're about to score again, and then it was a dive play to the left. I get the ball, break one tackle. I'm about to go into the end zone. Somebody tackles me from behind, and when he grabs me, he kind of like does that little tackle where he grab you and drag you down. So he literally lands on my ankle. And I'm like, all right, I'm good. I get back up, try to get in the next play. But, like, I'm like, nah, I'm not good. And I could barely walk on it. So that's when Coach Kellogg, Mrs. Tucci, they take me to the back room. And they're telling me, like, yeah, you have a high ankle sprain. I don't think you're going to be able to, like, go out there and finish out. So I'm like, no way, you know what I'm saying? We have, like, one more game guaranteed and then the bowl game. So I didn't know what to expect. And this is, like, my postgrad year. So like, it's my last year. So I was pretty scared. I was telling Mr. Kellogg, I was like, man, if you could just wrap this up, like, do whatever you can. I got to be out there with my family, my teammates. Like, we only have, like, 2 games left. Like, I can push through it. So I ended up going out there, finishing the game, even though, like, my ankle was hurting me throughout the game. We ended up going out there and finishing it. And then that following week was even worse because once you get that adrenaline and, you know what I'm saying, you play through an injury, it's not as bad as the following week. So waking up the next day and I had to go to the training room and get it iced and get it checked out. It was just, like, terrible. I wasn't even sure if I was going to be able to play that week. But Mr. Kellogg and Mrs. Tucci, they definitely did take care of me and got me back to where I needed to be for the game.
You give Justin a headlock. Hey, again, that team was we started that season off 0-2.
Yeah.
We lost to Avon and we lost
to Loomis.
Maybe in my mind, the worst we've ever had. We lost to a Loomis team that was not good.
Not good at all.
We just didn't figure it out yet. And, you know, and then we go on a run where we win the last 7, including the bowl game. So we kind of put it together and just got after it. But that was a tribute to you guys. Talk to us, Chiz, about, you know, obviously the Kellogg's kind of took you under their wing. You know, in so many ways, I'd say a lot like family. I remember back to, you know, when we were in the recruiting process and we're trying to figure out how we're going to get you to Towson, on a visit. And Mr. Kellogg was like, I'll just drive him, you know, and again, for all you guys that don't know, Towson's in Baltimore, Maryland. But just talk to us about, you know, the Kellogg's influence, on your life and your time here.
Man, I feel like the Kellogg's, they were just a part of the blessing that came with Trinity-Pawling. Like, I was already blessed enough getting an extra year at Trinity-Pawling, but then their assistants and then them taking me under their wing and just showing me the ropes and just, you know what I'm saying, kind of babying me through the whole process. I feel like that was just an extra blessing because it wasn't in their budget. They didn't have to do what they did for me. So it was just out of the kindness of their heart. Like, I remember coming into the school, I'm hearing about the uniform. It was like you had to wear a button down, a tie, and a blazer. And my question is, what's a blazer? Because it's not saying I'm not used to wearing blazers. So I'm like, what's a blazer? They're like, oh, it's this suit jacket that you wear. Explaining it to me. I'm like, yeah, I'm probably going to have to get a summer job, save up so I could be able to get the uniform required. And I remember getting on the phone with Mrs. Kellogg. I forgot who it was, if it was Mr. Burlington or somebody in the office. They said, we know this nice family. They always help out the PGs we recruit. And I got in touch with Mrs. Kellogg, and she said, don't worry about anything. She told me to just bring what I can, and then she'll take care of the rest. Her son went to TP. She has, like, you know what I'm saying, some spare clothes that I could wear and use until I get my feet under me. And that was just such a big help coming in because, you know what I'm saying, I didn't really know how I was going to be able to get all the clothes I needed for coming into school. And then once I got there, you know what I'm saying, they were just always available, always checking up on me if I needed anything, even if it was just to go to the store. And then Tucker, he was like a little brother to me. So it was just such a great family environment. Even through my recruiting visit, it wasn't just Towson that Coach Kellogg took me to. He also took me to Rhode Island, and that was me, him, and Tucker. We also drove down to Rhode Island when I had got my offer to University of Rhode Island, and that was just an exciting trip, just being a part of that whole environment, getting taken out. And then Mr. Kellogg, he was just acting as a father figure because at the time my dad was also in the hospital, and he was diagnosed with cancer, so he was in the hospital. So Mr. Kellogg, he just did like a lot for me that I'm always going to be forever grateful to him just for the guidance and support that he provided me throughout my time there. You know what I'm saying? And even at Towson now, like I remember just this summer when I was up at Towson starting my sophomore year, Tucker, he had a lacrosse tournament. And since they were going to be in the area, they took me and my senior linebacker out to eat. And we had a great time. They came, they treated us. We ate good, got to see them in pictures. So that's like stuff that they don't have to do, but it's just, you know what I'm saying, we're a family now. So it's just, I really appreciate them for that.
We'll definitely tell them that, Chiz, and we know that they know that you appreciate it. Yeah, we'll definitely echo that to them. Kenny, talk to us about your recruiting process. I mean, you're unbelievably good student. You had options. You had a lot of options at different levels, different schools. And then you decided to do the honors program at Sacred Heart, play Division I football. But take us through that process, that choice. Like, why did you make that choice?
Yeah, so the whole idea, like, it's always weird when like you talk about like recruiting and then coming in the special teams world, because everything we do is a little different from the rest of football. And then we isolate ourselves in practice and we do all that, but then ended up being, I got an email to go to one of the junior days at Sacred Heart, and I'm just like, sure, I'll go to it. And they actually happened to come to campus to go watch Brandon when we had a couple of those workouts in the spring of my junior year. And then I had emailed the coach, and I talked to him like, yeah, like I can go snap if you want me to. I snapped there. I guess I made a pretty good impression. And then the special teams coordinator worked out with me the entire time at the junior day. And then they pretty much went silent until halfway through my senior year, and then ended up saying they'd offer me. And then at that point, they ended up being the only Division I school I got scholarship offer from. I had a couple other preferred walk-on spots, but that was the only school that was willing to give me money. And then it was like, all right, you need to figure out the scholarship piece because I have to go to school to go play school, to quote my dad. So I went to do that, and then started talking to the admissions counselor, and then they thinking, oh, I'm just a football player. Then they started to see my grades, and then like, oh, there's something else here. And then I ended up sitting in on a 300 level class when I was a senior in high school, and I was going through and like working in a group project with kids in a 300 level class. And I'm like, okay, like this is exactly what I want to do. And they had the program, the exact program I wanted to do, and it kind of all the pieces fell in line.
What was the program, Kenny?
It's global studies, so a whole focus on international relations and kind of my interest in more global affairs. It's kind of it's a niche in terms of college scholarship. It's not the general business program or anything like that.
Kenny took Chinese here, and they don't have Chinese at Sacred Heart, right? But
no, I had to take Spanish at Sacred Heart.
Yeah, right. Ibrahim, take us through your process. What surprised you about the recruiting process? What stood out to you? What was like, wow, I can't believe that just happened? Give me your take on your recruiting process.
So if you could remember, I mean, like at one point, I think it was like after the season, like schools were talking to me, but a lot of them weren't offering at first. So me, I was just kind of like, the man stuck with me, which was the most like crazy thing for me. And looking back on it, I definitely appreciate Coach for just staying there with me that whole time, even when I was hurt. So pretty much when he was recruiting me, I knew like that they were going to be considered for sure. And pretty much like school like Temple, they came in a couple times. They didn't offer me. Then one day they offered me. they didn't even offer me. I went to a visit, and pretty much I guess that's where I got offered, I guess, because that's what they told me after. But while I'm on the visit at Temple, NC State actually is contacting me while I'm at the game, and it was like the most crazy thing like I ever experienced in my life, because like here I was like could not even know where I was gonna go, and like I was like my coach just brought up NC State like I took a visit there to Temple, and while we at the game, NC State is like contacting me on Twitter, and I'm just sitting there like, and you know Coach George, like I'm sitting with Coach George, and he's telling me NC State's talking to you right now. Look at your phone. I look at my phone, and it was just the craziest thing. From there, the coach came in, you know, he was talking to me for like at least like he came 3 times in like one day, I think, or 2 times, and offered me right there. Then the next day, like Rutgers came, and they told me that they wanted to offer me right there. They didn't tell me in person. They told me on the phone after they came. Then like Boston College tried to give me last second, if you remember. So like everything, I guess, like just worked out for me, because I think it really was because when I didn't go to Old Dominion and backed out on my word, I think it just came back around to me in a positive way.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. I think it does. Karma does come by. Chiz, you had an interesting thing, man. We had a workout here with University of Connecticut. Coach Smith was here. They were trying to work you out as a safety, I think. I think that was their thing. But take us through that, because there was some disappointment. I mean, first of all, let me tell you that you would have been an unbelievably dominant player at St. Lawrence University. But there was some disappointment, right? I mean, like, I remember after the UConn thing, they liked you, but they were trying to get safety, and they didn't think like you could pedal well enough and that kind of thing. And you were bumming. I mean, not dejected, but you were definitely bumming a little bit. But there's disappointment in this process, right? Like, it's hard no matter what level, and you guys are all at high levels. But talk to us about that, like, disappointment and your thoughts, during that time.
Yeah, definitely. Even like the first game of the season when we played against Avon Old Farms, I remember seeing Coach John Woolley in the stands. So I'm like, in my head, I'm thinking, oh snap, like it's my first game at the Division I college coach is coming to see me playing. So I'm like, I gotta show out. And I don't know if you guys remember that halftime speech when we was getting our butt whooped by Avon, but we was not having it. Like me, Cam, Ray, you know what I'm saying? We were the leaders of the team. We were all just upset at the performance that we were playing at the time. And we just really had to rally together to just not look like a sorry team, pretty much. But that definitely wasn't one of the best games that I played, at TP. In my opinion, it was probably one of the worst games I've played as a football player, just because I just felt so out of shape. I remember I had like layers. Remember I had the all white. I had to like come out for a play, take everything off because it was just so hot. Like I just wasn't in my element. So after that play, literally like that whole game on the field, I'm doubting myself. I'm like, yo, I know I could play better than this. Like, why am I playing like this? So we ended up losing the game. The coach didn't even talk to me. Apparently he came to speak to one of the kids at Avon. So that kind of hurt a little bit. But the whole time, like I had my mind set on UConn because he was the one that helped me get into TP. And Coach Carey was best friends with Coach John Woolley. So in my head, I'm thinking, all right, as long as, I have a good season, UConn will come around, they'll offer me. But then when it came to it, I did the whole drill. They were speaking to me for a little while. And then they just ended up telling me to wait it out. Don't commit December 20th. Wait till the next signing date, February 14th. So they wanted to see if anything fell through and if a scholarship opened up for me. Whereas I had Towson, who they already offered me. They wanted to get me down on a visit. They wanted to get the ball rolling pretty much. And with UConn, I kind of felt like I was their second option where, okay, if we didn't get this kid we wanted, then we'll pick this kid. So I just looked at it as, Towson, they had faith in me from the jump. They helped me get into the prep school. They've been communicating with me. Coach Trick came to a couple of my games. He's been really consistent. So I'm really big on loyalty, kind of the same way with TP versus Avon, because I was talking to TP and Avon at the same time. But it wasn't until Coach LaFontaine and Coach Carey came and said, all right, let's get this rolling. We're going to get you down here. You're going to see the school. We're going to talk to your parents, see how you like it. While Avon was still, trying to wait around and see if anything fell through. So I'm definitely big on loyalty. If you guys commit to me, I definitely commit to you guys. So that's how I felt with Towson, where they didn't literally after the visit, the head coach, Ambrose, he said, "So how'd you like it?" I said, "I love it here." And he told me, he shook me, he looked me in the eye, and he said, if you're ready to commit right now, we're not going to look for any other person at your position. You're the guy we want. So it's all up to you at this point. And I was like, yeah, I'm definitely thinking about committing here. Coach Kellogg was there throughout the whole visit too. So he looked at me after. He was like, you don't have to make this decision now. You can always think about it. You know what I'm saying? No pressure. It's all up to you. So it wasn't until the drive back that we really weighed our options and talked about it. And I really felt comfortable going with Towson at that point, because they really treated me as their first option.
Coach Karate says it. We heard it last week too with some of the guys. Just sometimes you got to go where they want you, you know. And I think that there's definitely some wisdom in that. But what did you play at here? I know you wrestled at 195, right? What weight were you here?
My biggest was I think like towards the New England's championships, I was like 208 weighing in. That was my biggest ever. But I definitely wrestled anywhere between 195 and 205.
And what are you at right now?
Right now I'm at 220. I want to say 225, but I haven't really been lifting and eating as much as I want to with the whole quarantine. So I'll probably say 220. Yeah,
it's like when I see you on those videos, like it's like staring in a mirror for me. It's tough. Yeah, it's and I remember that Avon game because you looked at me afterwards, and the guys that were on the team last year was similar day. It was super hot. It was at their place. They had a bunch of talent like they always do. They had a kid bring back a punt on us, and that kid is playing in Iowa now and all this stuff. And after the game, Chiz, I don't remember if you remember this, but you looked kind of at me and you were like, "Coach, I work hard," and I agree. I thought you did. You were like, but I wasn't ready for that. Like the speed of it. I thought the difference was the speed of it. You know, you playing at JFK, there's a lot of talent, but you were a dominant kid. And then, you know, coming here, and I think the speed of the game, you know, took that next step up. And it took you that game to kind of, I think, get your bearings a little bit. Is that fair to say? Yeah, I definitely agree on that. I wasn't accustomed to because you know what I'm saying? It was a different competition. It was a whole different competition, and I loved it for that. But Avon, they were definitely a top team. You know what I'm saying? Everything was just coming rapid fire. I felt like I could have done a little bit more in practice to prepare myself for that game. I definitely felt under-conditioned. Just because I remember I was still coming back from like a hamstring injury at the time. So you guys were kind of like easing it on me, trying to get me back into the flow of things. But my thing was like, if I'm cleared to play, I'm going to go 100% no matter what. But you guys are like, be smart about this. You don't want to go too fast and get hurt again. So I kind of took your word. But then after that game, I was like, yeah, I got to get back like 110% because I'm not trying to have this happen more than once during the season. That game was just an eye-opener of like the competition ahead. So, yeah. All right. So, Ibrahim, biggest difference between Trinity-Pawling School football and the ACC?
The speed is the main thing, and the strength. Like most tackles, they're not gonna move. Like if you're a guy who's like underperforming in the weight room, they're not gonna move if you touch them. Like everything is just so much different. The tempo is way more. But the thing about TP that surprised me was like when I came in, like the competition that we started to play, like in TP was actually getting like really good. Like if you remember, like they had like this one kid at Salisbury, they had another kid at Brunswick. So like honestly, like I was used to like the size playing against a taller tackle. So I think that's what the thing that when I went to college, that was an advantage that I had. But as far as like the speed, the first game I was like, wow, like now I see what everybody's talking about. But after like a couple games, you get real used to it, and then you just go from there.
Kenny, I love when you talk about the off-season stuff, like the winter stuff and the commitment to that, because it's a grind, right? Like it's a grind. And again, like we got a great bunch of guys and guys that are willing to work, but we always talk about it as they don't know yet. They don't know. Like they don't know what it takes yet. That's part of our job, I think, to try to get you guys there. But you talk about that, Kenny, and I think you do a good job. Like, talk to me about like the difference in the commitment level and the amount of hours and like winter workouts and all that stuff, that what it takes to be, you know, a successful football team at that level.
Yeah, it's a full-time job. Like we all talked about it. Ibrahim said it, Chiz said it. We're all taking summer school now so we can stay ahead on classes when it comes to the season. And then like my work week for football, not counting taking 15 credits and being in the honors program, it's just I wake up at 5:30, 6 o'clock every day for football, and then I go to bed at midnight because I'm sitting there writing papers. And it's just, you get free time, like you get out of study hall if you have a good enough grades, but then I've gone back to study hall to go proctor it, to go try to make some money because I don't have time for work study. And it's just, you constantly go and you go and you go, but you figure out how to work on that schedule really well if you want to be successful. And then the whole thing with the off-season workout, you really don't know. I think I remember in season, it's not as bad when you're a freshman because you're just kind of riding the wave and the upperclassmen are doing their thing and you keep your head down. And then once that gets over with, I think it was my first workout. It's like one of the worst workouts we have. It was a 10x10 squat day. It's the strength coaches are yelling the tempo. And then I remember in the middle of the workout, I'm sitting there, me and another freshman lineman are sharing a garbage can in the corner of the weight room between our sets. And then next thing you know, they called our group and we got screamed at to get back under the bar and go again. And we were 4-7 that season. So there was added disappointment from the coaching staff and a little extra encouragement from their end. But I don't think I'm ever going to forget what happened. And it was just, even when you think you're doing everything right, the coaches still find a reason to make you run extra. And then it just and then it would be, I think there's a picture of it. We were out there. It was signing day for the next class. And we were out on the field in a foot of snow on February 1st running because it was our run day and they didn't plow it yet, but we still had to run. And they were bringing on all our replacements for the next season and all the new signees. And it's just kind of the business of it, like, we have to be better because if not, they're going to bring someone in to replace you instantly. So,
Chiz, your thoughts on that, the leap from JFK to Trinity-Pawling, just level of football, and then to the CAA, which is, people regard the CAA as the best FCS league in the country. But your thoughts on that?
Yeah, the competition definitely increases as you go up in level. At JFK, I feel like that was just the foundation where I learned how to lift weights to an extent. I learned how to play football to an extent. You know what I'm saying? I kind of learned the basics, the foundation. Because sophomore year, I remember they tried me out at quarterback. You guys don't notice, but that was my first position. I thought I was going to be a quarterback. So
when did you start playing football?
I started playing a sophomore year of high school. That was my first time.
Ibrahim, when did you start playing?
High school.
Kenny, when did you start playing?
2nd grade.
So yeah, I started playing quarterback sophomore year, and then they had somebody run a slant, and I threw the ball like it was a baseball, and they was like, "Yeah, we're just gonna put you at a slot receiver." And then from there on, I had a pretty decent first year. They moved me up to varsity after like my fourth game, and then they just literally put on 30 pounds of muscle on me. I went from 165 to 195, and from my sophomore year to my junior year. So like that one season, I just gained all that weight. I remember I had this gym teacher. She would come up to me. She said, "Excuse me, young man, whatever the coaches are giving you, you need to stop because there's no reason you should be this big at your age." And I was like, "What do you mean?" And I told my coaches, and they came screaming at her like, "What do you think, we're giving him illegal supplements or something? This kid just works hard, da-da-da." She just didn't want to believe it. So it wasn't until I started running track that, I kind of improved and lean. Because when I gained all that weight, I kind of became like a box. I was really stiff. And I had to run track to just kind of get my muscles faster, more twitchy. And as I got to TP, I remember I had one of the best running backs coaches out there, Coach Karate. He was getting me right because my main position at Kennedy was defensive end. So you guys telling me I was going to play A-back, that was my first time ever being like the main running back. So Coach Karate, I definitely give him a lot of credit for the success that I had in my season. Just teaching me how to run the routes, how to do the juke moves and all that. And then just getting to Towson, man, the only thing that that I can honestly say got me prepared for Towson was the track team with Coach McDougal, because I was able to play as a freshman just off of my raw speed and talent, because I really didn't know the playbook, and that was the biggest thing that kept me from starting as a freshman was I had struggled. And they would tell me, they said, your strengths are you're athletic, you're fast, you know what I'm saying, you're going to be a great football player, but your football IQ is really low. Like, you need to stay in your playbook, come to the coaches' meetings, and we got to get you schooled up more, and they kept telling me, in this league, it goes by so much faster, but I didn't really believe them until we got to camp and started scrimmaging. I'm like, yo, I'm still on install 1, and they're already talking about install 3. Like, this doesn't slow down for me. So I had to, like, learn the hard way, you know what I'm saying, of how everything works when you get to college. It's just a whole lot more studying, and you just got to stay in that playbook.
I want to hit on one more thing with you, Chiz, and I guess you mentioned track, and you know, it's a push here always to get kids to do multiple sports. Kenny, I like to take a lot of credit with JV lacrosse, Kenny's career there. And I was, at one point, we were trying to teach Ibrahim how to throw a discus. He liked to throw it into the ground, so it didn't work out as well. But with a little time, he would have got there. But Chiz, a couple things. One is you decided to wrestle. You never wrestled in your life, I don't think. Just to do it. And then Coach Fidelli and Coach Dunham were both like, if this kid wrestled for like more than just 1 year, he probably would have been an All-American. And then in track, you came out for track, and Coach McDougal, I don't want to overstate this, you can chime in here, but he was kind of the track team that year. We had a few guys that threw and placed in New England, but Chiz placed, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, Coach McDougal, but he was second in the 200, right? Third in the 100, and then fifth in the javelin at the New England meet?
Yeah,
No,
I think so.
I was second in the 100 and third in the 200.
Third in the 200, sorry. But that to me was like, it talked about the buy-in. All three of you guys were bought in. But, you know, talk to me about that process of, like, going out. Like, why did you choose to wrestle? You obviously performed well in track, you know, but how did that help you playing multiple sports?
So coming in, I kind of thought I was just gonna do football and then track, and then whatever in between, I kind of was just gonna take a break, I guess. But you know what I'm saying, after that football season, I just felt a special connection with the school, with the guys around me, and it just was just a nice little family environment. And I remember during that winter, I kept thinking what I was gonna do, because I knew I was gonna be a starter on a basketball team for varsity if I would have tried out, maybe a 6th or 7th man, but I knew I was gonna be like the main player. So I kind of wanted to go where I was needed. So I was gonna do JV basketball, but Miss Tucci was like, why don't you try wrestling? I heard they kind of need some extra bodies, and especially at your weight, you'll be the perfect size for that class if you really need somebody at that position. So I talked to the wrestling coaches, you know what I'm saying? I told them this isn't something that I'm comfortable with, like I've never done this before. And they welcomed me with open arms. They showed me the ropes, especially Mr. Mead, wrestling Mr. Mead every day. It was like torture. Like, he would do this move where he would put his elbow right in my chest or like in my back, and it would just he went hard on me, but it definitely got me better. So the reason I did wrestling was it was where I was needed. Mrs. Tucci told me to join the wrestling team, and I talked to Coach Fidelli, and you know what I'm saying, they welcomed me in, and they just coached me up really good. So it was just something fun that I decided to try out, just to help out the team.
I know Mr. Mead probably thinks that he probably thinks differently of those practices where he had to wrestle you.
Nah, he was beating me up most of the time, honestly. Probably got him like 1 or 2 times.
Ibrahim, you lived in Dunbar with yours truly. You babysat my kids. I sent that picture out this morning. You room with another great guy, Will Danker. But tell me about your experience. You know, you guys Chiz room with another great guy, Nate Miller. But Ibrahim, tell me about your experience as, your roommate and kind of opened up a new world. And again, Will played at a great program at Newburgh Free Academy. And but what was that experience like?
Honestly, it was like my brother. Like to this day, I still consider him like a brother. Honestly, because even if you remember, like the first camp, I think it was like at Brunswick, and this was before I even got to TP. Like Will and his parent and his mom was the first one to be like, all right, hop in the car with us and we'll take you. So from day one, I already knew like that was gonna be my guy. Like he's looking out for me, and even when we were rooming together, like he made sure I stayed focused. Even when I broke my hand, he stayed on top of me, stuff like that. So I definitely appreciated him and everybody else in the dorm because they just brought the energy to me and brought my personality out a lot more. And like when I was babysitting like Lincoln and Sawyer, I mean like it was like one of those experiences like I'll never forget. Like learning how to change diapers, stuff like that. Like it was just like a cool experience being around them, eating pizza with them, seeing them go to sleep like super early. Like it was something that I'll never forget. Seriously.
Ibrahim, Lincoln wasn't sleeping. It was just Sawyer.
Oh, it was Sawyer. It was Sawyer. I now remember it was Sawyer.
I remember Regan talked about it. My wife talked about it today. She said, I remember asking Ibrahim, have you ever changed a diaper? And he's like, nah, I'll figure it out. And then we got home and you guys were sleeping. And then Sawyer's diaper was on backwards.
I tried my best. I can't lie. I was there for like 20 minutes trying to change it too.
All right, I've been pretty good with the time. We started a bit late, and there's 3 of you guys, so we ran over just a little bit. But I've been asking guys to kind of give some parting wisdom. Kenny, I might pick on you first. Again, Lincoln's here. You got a group of guys. You gave a great speech to the team this year about who do you want holding the other part of the rope when you're off a ledge. You had me all fired up. But what are some of what's your advice to these guys? What would you say to a little Kenny McDougal?
Little Kenny McDougal. Have fun, like to Lincoln and pretty much just have fun hanging out with all these guys. It's the craziest thing when I think back to my memories of being on dorm or the stuff that happened off dorm when I was wandering with them when they told me, don't tell your dad we're doing this, but we go do it anyway. And then that's always a blast. And then for the football wise, it's you pretty much at any given point, you're always going to be in a competition and someone is going to be watching, whether you like it or not, you think someone's watching or not, they're going to be watching. And you hope when they're watching you, you're doing the right thing. And you hope you surround yourself with teammates or people that are also there to make sure you do the right thing at the same time.
Well said, Kenny. Chiz, I'm going to throw it down to you. You know a lot of these guys. You spent some time, and obviously your brother is a teammate of some of these guys. But what are some of the thoughts you want to give to these guys?
My biggest thing would be to just trust the process and just trust in the coaching staff that you guys have. Coach Loff, Coach Richards, Coach McDougal, Coach Karate, Coach Weber, Coach Rui, because these guys they've done it. They've done it already. These guys they've done it already. You know what I'm saying? They have the experience, they have the knowledge, they have the connections that, you know what I'm saying? I'm sure, like, if they were in our shoes, they'd be telling us, hey, listen to this guy. He's done what you're trying to do already. So he has the blueprint, you know what I'm saying? Like, these guys should be looked at as the LeBron James of the team. Because I know if anybody wants to be a basketball player, and LeBron James gave him the blueprint and said, hey, sleep this much, work out this much, run this much, do this much, you're going to listen to him because that's LeBron James. He has the blueprint. So I feel like the rest of the players coming in should be looking up to their coaches as the LeBron James of the team, because it always starts at the top. You know what I'm saying? The reason we had our successful season was because we had Coach Loff, we had Coach Richards. They were fired up for practice every week. They would have them master game plan along with, you know what I'm saying, Coach Carey, all the coaches we had. And they would just set us up for success, and it was just up to us to do what they say. Because I remember it was in a Brunswick game that you guys kept telling me to go when the quarterback rolls out to go outside the running back. I never listened. I would always, because it was just like.
Did you ever say that?
I don't think anybody heard me.
He kept telling me, he said, Chiz, just go outside the running back. But for some reason, every time he started coming at me, I'm thinking I could just get him right now. So I'll try to go inside and I'll let him escape outside. And it was when I finally listened and I did the right thing and I went outside the running back. We ended up getting a TFL for a sack. So it was just the little things, you know what I'm saying? Just listening to the coaches, because they've done it already. And they're not going to steer you wrong. They're only here to help you. So you thinking you know everything, wanting to do it on your own, or, you know what I'm saying, just wanting to be the bigger man and handle things on your own is not always necessarily the smart thing to do. I wouldn't be where I'm at if it wasn't for Coach Lof and Coach Karate just helping me out with my recruiting process, my training throughout my years at Trinity-Pawling. So definitely shout out to those guys.
Thanks, Chiz. I appreciate the fact that you just compared us to LeBron James. And I like to think of myself as a LeBron James of coaching. Or now Coach Richards' favorite player in the world is LeBron James. So you just kind of made his whole day. That was an epic game at Brunswick that year. It was like a 45-40 game. We won with like 4 seconds left, right? Putting one in. Holy cow. All right, Ibrahim, you kind of got the last word. What would you say to these guys?
My first thing would be good to people, because you never know how far it's going to take you. I got an opportunity to go to TP, and I met some great people there, and I just tried to be as good to them as I could, and I think that's what helped work out for me. And second, whatever goal you have, attack it with everything you got. Like, don't ever doubt yourself. I feel like doubting yourself is the number one reason why people lose in life. For me, like, I learned it in college football. Like, you got to be confident in everything you do, but confidence comes from the work you put in. So whatever you want to get out of it, put the work in. Like, right now, I know what I want to get to, so I got to work as hard as I can. I know that. So right now, like, on quarantine, I still got to work like 10 times harder. I feel like that's the way you guys got to approach it now. Other teams are at home too, but the thing is, if you can create an advantage by working harder than them, because a lot of them are probably sitting in the couch right now, if we're being honest. So, like, I feel like whatever you want to do, even if it's not football, if you have a goal, just attack it. Attack it and never let somebody talk you out of your goals. Because the easiest thing to do is to quit when you're in the middle of the mountain. But, you can't look down. You can't look down at the mountain. You got to keep going up. And I feel like in life, you just got to keep climbing. And when you get to the top, stay humble and be great to the people around you. And I feel like you're going to have a good life. So that's all I got.
Well said, Ibrahim. Well said. Coach Karate, I don't know if I have the authority to do this, but I'm officially offering you guys jobs. So all three of you guys have jobs whenever you need them at Trinity-Pawling School. I might have to run that by Mr. Taylor first, but I am formally offering you those spots when you guys get out of school and you decide you want to teach and coach. We talked a lot this year about redefining success, and we kind of harped on this a lot, and I do believe in it, is we're not going to be defined by what we do just on Saturdays. That's part of the equation, but it's not the entire thing. So I think we have three guys on this phone call that are alum that did it the right way. You guys were all great students. You were all great people, and then it all worked out for you on the field. That success, the fact that you guys were jumping at the chance to come back and come talk to these guys and try to spread some knowledge and your experience with these guys, to me, that's successful. So you guys are a big part of this program. You'll always be a big part of the program. We love you. We're proud of you. We wish you luck. Be safe and healthy. Roll Pride.
Man, appreciate you for having us. It was definitely – I love giving back to, those who helped me get to where I am. That's what I love doing.
You guys are always welcome.
And I see you over there, Lincoln.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.